box in your SUP board or your surfboard or whatever kind of board you want. Basically what I've done here is put masking tape down where I think my center line is going to be. So try and get this kind of close. For a board like this is 8.5 by 30, I would recommend it to be somewhere close to about 20 inches from the tail. The back opening of your Tuttle box would be. Okay, so you got to remember the back opening of the Tuttle box. This is what your Tuttle box looks like. Okay, this is the opening on the bottom here. This is the top side. This goes through the deck. There's carbon that goes all the way through. So we're going to put this whole box through the board. Now, so to mark this, you can, basically it's the back of this opening. Okay, so make sure that, you know, when you're routing out your box here, you make sure that this is the distance and don't move your box back like this. Center line, because I like to take two squares, put them on both sides of the board, like so. Okay, and we're going to measure exactly where it is. This are off, so we'll just double check it. We're going to get this 18 about perfect. Okay, see that 18? Come back to here, 9. So we are pretty close to dead nuts on that. Look at your other square. Basically, those are all pretty much in line. Okay, so that's going to be 29 right there. We got 6.5 and 2.5. So 29 is 14.5. Okay, so what I have here is a straight edge made out of aluminum. You can buy this at the hardware store. This one's an 8-footer, which I like to use. Now I'm going to line up all my lines and get something consistent going through all these lines. Where it's a little bit bigger, a little bit wider. So I would have to freehand this whole thing just like I showed you with that one. And you know, now we're going to freehand with the router, whichever box I'm putting in there. Like you can see where that outline is. Basically, I'm going to drop a router in here and freehand that out. Okay, this is the router that I use. It's a pretty big router made for board building. This is a Makita one with a 1/2 inch router bit on it.
Now I'm going to make this deeper. As deep as is max. Now this part here won't cut, so I can rest it along this groove that I just made. So I'm going to rest this non-cutting surface on that and use it as a guide.
Box. Going to put our Tuttle in there. Make sure she's fitting good. Now it looks like we got what we want, is about maybe 1/16 of an inch all the way around, so we can kind of move this around a little bit left and right. Now, what I like to do when I set my fin boxes for a Tuttle, I use an old Tuttle windsurfing fin. You can use a piece of wood or anything that will fit in here that is straight. So basically I'm going to put this inside here so I don't have to grind too much of this later. So make sure that you got this pretty much level or a little bit coming this way. You don't want to have your box too far inside the hole, because then you got the wrong size here. So basically, I'm just going to mark a line here, and I will cut on the outside of this line, but this will save me from grinding down, you know, this inch or more of that box. Okay, we've got our resin mixed up here. We're going to try and put it right on the inside of this box here. Let me try and get rid of that. Okay, we're going to put it right on the inside of this box. I want it all the way up and down this box. I've got some plastic on my floor so I don't make a giant mess down there, because this will fall through all over this thing. The Vinyl. Okay, now we put it in there on the box and inside the hole. Now our next step is we got to align. So I take a square, put it on the front of the board. Now I'm sighting straight down this square, down the fin, to make sure this is straight up and down. So sight it this way to make sure your fin is straight. Sight it with your straight edge to make sure it's straight. Okay, say for instance, say you got this fin here or whatever you have to get this straight up and down. If it's one way or the other, put tape on the top and pull it one way or the other to get it straight. This is what I mean. See how I've taped it to the top here? Pull it to the one side if you think it needs to lean a little bit this way or that way. Get any of the excess resin out of here. Okay, now what I'm going to do is going to put down a couple layers. This is one layer of 4 ounce. I'm going to put 5 layers here right over this Tuttle bolt area. Another layer of 4 ounce. Then I'm going to cover all of this with my 2 ounce. Once it gets clear and you can see your tape, you know that you've wetted out your glass real good. Like say for instance right there, it's kind of not wetted out, so I'll keep going there until you see how it disappears and gets clear and you can see straight through it. Okay, from here, I'm going to peel up this my tape and cut this as I go so I don't pull this off. Then you can scuff this up and hot coat it. Okay, as you can see, I've cut this my tape off. I've cut my laminates, pulled my tape off. I'm going to rough this up and put a little hot coat on it. Make sure she's watertight, sand this down just a little bit. Since this is under the pad, I don't have to worry about this so much. But I want to build up this area just a little bit because there's a little recess on the Tuttle, so I'll put a little bit of thickness right here for helping with the bolts. And up here you can see the foot straps as well. Sanded down smooth. It doesn't really matter what it really looks like right now. I don't want it too ugly though. Okay, what I've got here is called a trim router. You see this bit that I have here it has a cutting surface here. Let's see if we can point it out. There's a cutting surface right here, and then this top part keeps it from cutting into my Tuttle box. This one here, if you're not sure where your Tuttle box is, you can't see it, make sure you measure your center line. I know my Tuttle box opening is right in the middle of this distance here. So I'm going to drill a hole. Okay, now I'm through. Now you're inside. See how that went straight through? There's a big opening in there. Remember your Tuttle box. Now I'm going to drop the router bit in here and I'm going to outline this. Okay, we just routed out our hole. Now what I do is I take a rat tail file, a round file here, we call it a rat tail. Do the edges on both sides. Now I've turned up this board sideways inside my rack. What I'm going to do now is I've got a painter stir stick with some 60 grit sandpaper on it. I'm going to put it inside here and smooth out all of that glass and whatever lip is in the way. Okay, I just sanded all the edges, front, back, left, right, blow it out. Now either you're going to grab a windsurfing fin, if you don't have your foil yet, put it in there to check it for, whether you're grabbing anywhere. I like to feel around inside here, and if I feel anything that feels like a lip, I'll try and sand it off. Now I'm going to come over here and grab my foil. Okay, this is my Go foil. This is actually my personal one. And this one's actually built in China also. I'm going to put it in there, rock it back and forth, and see how tight this thing is. Okay, got it all the way down flush. This one looks like it's going to fit good. Okay, I just cut this template with the scissors, and you could see how it fits into the Tuttle box. You fit it in like this, let it rest on the bottom of the board. Now you sight down these lines, and this is where you're going to put your holes. So this line going straight down is lining up where the hole should be in the deck of your board. So just like line those up, mark it with a marker, or you know, an ice pick, whatever you can. I like using an ice pick so you can put a hole right through that lamination, and then you can see where to drill your holes.